Hello, my name is Iron and this is Iron's Tech. Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to do a review of these headphones, which are the Sony WH-1000XM4. And I've been using these for about 5 days and I wanted to just give some comments and some opinions about what I think after using them for this long. Any problems I've found, and mostly kind of things I've liked about them, because they're very good headphones. So I picked these up as a replacement to the 720Ns, as the right ear cup on the 720Ns was giving me some problems. It was probably just the unit I purchased, but I figured I'd upgrade and try something else. And these have been better in that regard. I don't notice so much of a pressure on my ear with these. And let's pull them out. They seem to be quite good at actually pressure in general. That's pressure from the ANC and like creating a vacuum inside the ear cups. Even if I put my hand and do this, the air is being released from one of the many holes around the ear cups. I've not quite tracked down, it could be this one here, exactly where it's coming from, but they work as they're supposed to work. Like they create enough of a vacuum to block out lots of sound, but not so much that it creates a problem for your ears. So moving on from the ear cup thing, these headphones, first up, I think they look great. They're not too showy, they're not flash or metallic blue or anything like that, but they just look kind of quite class. They've got just little bits of gold on them to show them that they are, the premium top-end headphones, and especially these in black. They're subtle enough not to attract too much attention. I think they're quite nice headphones. They look good in my opinion. They are a little heavy. They're quite a bit heavier than some headphones I've used before, and I do feel a bit of pressure on top of my head. It's not terrible, but it is there. I have had to move them forward and back a little bit on my head after using them for 30 minutes or so. The other thing is for me anyway, they have been a little bit clampy. Like on my head, I felt them a little bit too much clamp. Maybe because they're new, they just need stretching out a little bit. And other people have reported back to me saying that they do get better over time as you wear them. You get used to them, or they stretch a bit and they don't feel so tight. I usually wear them on 4 clicks, as I have quite a long but narrow head. And yeah, they're reasonably comfortable. I've worn them out shopping, I've worn them on the bus, on the train, walking around down by the trains near to my house, and they're not bad at all. They've a little bit of pressure on the sides of my head, but nothing too crazy. I'm going to move on now to the noise cancellation. Okay, the noise cancelling on these is frankly amazing. It's the best I've used on a pair of headphones. The Q45s were very, very close if I stay still. These are consistently good if I'm moving around, walking about on a train, on a bus, especially on a train or a bus. These are incredible. They just remove all that low rumbly noise you get, and they let through a little bit of the top end, but it's not bad. But yeah, I was very, very impressed with the noise cancellation. There is a little bit of cabin pressure. It's not crazy. It's nowhere near as much as Bose headphones I've tried. It's not as much as the 720Ns that I tried. And it's not as much as the Q45s when you turn those up to full noise cancellation. They really do suck on my eardrums. These, there's a little bit, especially if they're trying to block out a lot of noise around you. You can feel it a little bit, but it's nowhere near as bad. They've done something to this which really helps. I mean, it could be, again, that the way they pressure balance the pressure, is that the way of saying it? They balance the pressure quite well inside the ear cups, so that could be something to do with why they don't hurt my ears so much. But it's very impressive. The other thing is wind reduction. So when I first wore these, I had them on full noise cancellation mode, walking down the street, and it was a very windy day, and the wind was noticeably annoying. Like, it was really interfering with what I could hear. It was whooshing and swooshing, and I was getting a bit upset about how they're not cancelling out the noise. But I moved the slider. When you select noise cancelling, there's a slider you can shift. And I moved it along thinking, well, maybe some ambient sound will help with this. And there's actually a setting which is one click to the right of the noise cancelling setting that says wind reduction. And it's incredible. Like, it just completely removed the wind noise. And that it's the best I've experienced on a pair of headphones. Like, the wind reduction on these things is very, very, very impressive. It was, I think, honestly, one of my favourite features using these over the past few days is that wind reduction mode. Like, the noise cancellation is noticeably less. It lets in a bit more of the bottom end, but the payoff in the way it removes the wind noise is absolutely worth it, in my opinion. It's very, very impressive. Something I've experienced with previous headphones is that when you switch between the modes, so you go from normal mode to ANC mode to the ambient mode where it lets the sound in, the EQ and especially the bass response can be actually quite different. On the XM4s, that doesn't appear to be the case. There is a slight change, and I think it's almost impossible to not have a slight change, but it's so slight. And I've actually really enjoyed playing with the equalizer on these and noticing that it doesn't change too much when I jump between the different modes. And that's great. That's something I would expect from headphones this expensive, and it really does work well. And then back to that EQ, out of the box, these are very warm sounding headphones. There's a lot of bottom end. The bass is very there. It's very Sony sounding. It's very in your face. You can hear the top end. You can hear the mids a bit. They're a bit recessed, but they're there. And so I went into the equalizer, had a bit of a play around, and they sound really good after a little bit of EQing. Like, I've got some Audio-Technica headphones that I use when I'm mixing music. Those are a very, very different sound to these headphones. They have a lot more middle, a lot more top end, and a lot less in the bass department. But I think these, for something you're going to wear out and about where there's noise, on a train, on a bus, where there's lots of bottom end interruptions, they're balanced very well for that. And even after I've played with the EQ a bit, they do seem to be specifically designed for commuting, for use on public transport or when there's noise trying to interfere with what you're listening to. And they sounded really good. And some of the best sounding headphones I've listened to while on a noisy train. Like my Audio-Technica, I took them on the train, and in my living room when it's quiet, yeah, they sound amazing. On the train, with all the low rumbling everywhere, they don't sound amazing at all. They sound actually quite bad because you can't hear any low end whatsoever. These, even with noise cancellation turned off, sound a lot better in that regard. Switch on noise cancellation and they are the best things I've ever put on my head in a train. They are really, really good. Something else I wanted to talk about was the battery life. For me, so far, these have been fine. I mean, I've used them a couple of hours a day, not crazy amounts. And the amount of battery that they drop, if I calculate it, it would work out about the advertised time. I think I got it out about 28 hours I'd get out of them if I kept going at the rate I was. A little warning, when I first opened these, it said there was 100% battery. So I was like, great, out of the box, fully charged, wonderful. I wore them for about 40 minutes and it suddenly dropped to 30%. So I think in the box or out of the box, I don't think that battery mark is correct. So I saw them drop to 30, I used them a little bit, and then I charged them all the way back up to 100. And they've been behaving a lot more sensibly now. They're dropping at a rate which I would figure, that's about right for these headphones. So yeah, battery, I'd say as advertised. One thing I have noticed that does really affect the battery life is if you have It's speak to talk, I think it's called, or talk to chat or something like that. It's when you talk, the headphones will listen and drop the music volume to let you talk to people and let ambient sound in. If you have that turned on, the battery life of these headphones will reduce. I mean, you'd probably lose an hour or two, to be honest. It's quite a lot. I turned that mode off because, one, I want the battery to last longer, and two, it was driving me bonkers because if I was humming or singing along, or if someone next to me talked, it would just drop the music and let the sound in. So even if I was walking past someone having a conversation, the speak to chat thing would activate and what I was listening to would be put into the background. I imagine it could be a very nice feature, but for me, it was quite an annoying one, so that is turned off. I also switched off the upscaling. Yeah, so the DSEE upscaling feature on these is impressive on older tracks. It does make an audible difference, but again, it will reduce the battery life. And you're looking probably, again, at around a couple of hours lost off the battery. So if you have the upscaling turned on and you have the speak to chat thing turned on as well, you're probably going to lose 4 hours overall in battery life, which is quite a lot, you know. So I am going to keep those two features turned off unless I really have a need to switch them on and go from there. But again, these are very nice headphones. They should be for the price. After 5 days, I am happy with them. I do not intend to return them or change them. I'm going to continue wearing them. And I hope that my head gets used to them and that the band gets a little looser, because that is one of the main things. They are a little bit tight on my ears. But yeah, they've been great, really convenient. The noise cancellation is incredible. One thing I haven't talked about yet is the touch control. So on this right ear cup, this is the right ear cup, you have a bunch of touch controls. So if you double tap it, it will start your music. If you double tap it again, it will pause your music. If you swipe forward, it will go to the next track. If you swipe back, it will start the current track again. But if you swipe back and you swipe back again, it will go back one track. Swipe up, volume goes up. Swipe down, volume goes down. If you hold it, so tap it once and just hold. For me, this activates Siri on my phone, which is quite useful. That's come in handy a couple of times. Not a massive amount, honestly. I don't use Siri all that much, but it's come in handy a couple of times there. And then on the other cut, you've got your normal buttons, and this is the noise cancelling button. It's been handy. I've kept it as noise cancellation. I've not changed it to the Alexa thing. I just press when I want the different noise cancellation modes. And then the power button obviously turns it on and off. If you tap this when it's turned on, it will tell you how much battery you have left, which is quite useful, actually. So you want to know quickly how much you've got without looking at your phone. You just hit that button. It'll say battery life full, or, battery life about 70%, or however much is left. It's quite handy. And your audio jack, which I did try this. The audio jack, I plugged it in. I played a bit of World of Tanks Blitz on it, listened to some music. Powered off, these sound all right. They sound okay when you plug them in. The EQ is not what I would have chosen, but it's very Sony. It's a very powerful bass bottom end. Better than what I've experienced with some other headphones, like the Soundcore, for example, or the 720s. They were very, very bottom end heavy when you plug them in, to the point where it's a bit too much. These, it's bearable. I can listen to them plugged in for a bit, and it's not too bad. But if you switch them on when they're plugged in, I found it uses the EQ that I chose before. So you cannot go into the app and change it during use when they're plugged in and switched on. But if you have them set to an EQ and then switch them off, then plug them in and turn on the power, they remember the EQ that you chose and then will apply that to whatever's plugged in, which is very useful. And you can use the noise cancellation when they're plugged in as well. So, you know, great for flights, or if you want to play a game with no lag, you can plug in and go from there. So that's pretty good. I like that feature a lot. Okay, yep. So again, overall, I like these headphones. They're good. They are expensive, but I think they're worth the money. I'm gonna have to give them a bit more of a go, month or two before I really do decide if I think they were worth what I spent. But so far they've been very nice. Yeah. So these are the WH-1000XM4 headphones from Sony. After about 5 days, and mostly I'm gonna give them thumbs up. They're good. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, cancelling out the noise. Good stuff. My name is Iron. This has been Iron's Tech, and thank you again for watching.